Hello everyone, TJ here. This blog post is going to recap the trip to the Center of Civil and Human Rights that our English 1101 went to. In order to better explain the trip, this blog will be composed of several mini videos that I recorded to depict several areas in the museum. I will provide a deeper explanation with this voiceover so you can understand my experience. It began on the first floor. As we started our tour through the museum, the guide unfortunately told us we couldn't record or take any pictures. This was because this floor held several primary sources of documents that Martin Luther King received during and after he died. Since there were so many documents, they would usually cycle through them every several months. This meant that many documents have never been seen before and therefore are copyrighted. Nevertheless, I was able to see both positive and negative letters that people sent to King's wife and family after he died. The floor also held various newspaper of the current era as well, which was very informative. Next was the second floor. When we first entered the second floor, the first thing that caught my eye was a wall that depicted many of the segregationists during the 20th century. This poster described specific men that endorsed segregation and gave us popular quotes from these individuals. It was very interesting to see the reasons why some people believed in segregation. The second room had the best attraction in the museum, which was a simulation of a sit-in. While I couldn't partake of this myself, many told me that the yelling and the sound of beatings through the headsets felt as if they were at the diner themselves. There was also a 1960s map of Atlanta that described where various events occurred, such as various life-ins or sit-ins, and as well as the church Martin Luther King attended himself. The third room was a large area that described the Big Six's involvement in the Civil Rights Movement. The room had small headphones that allowed you to listen to the speeches of these men, such as Martin Luther King and John Lewis. The final room on the second floor had singing murals of the 4 girls who died in a bombing of the KKK. It was saddening and emotional to see, since the music enforced how young and innocent these girls were. The transition from the second to the third floor was very strange since it was very dark. It started to make sense as I made my way, since there was a movie and several pictures around that depicted the moments leading to the death of King. However, the room next to this was a sudden juxtaposition since there was much more light in this area. There were several columns that had a number of papers hanging from them. Each paper had a person on them varying in both black and white people. I assumed that these were abolitionists during the Civil Rights Movement. There was also a huge wall that depicted several laws. These laws included segregation, integration, and even contemporary laws that all impact us today and created progress in the Civil Rights Movement. The final room displayed contemporary and historical civil rights leaders, as well as those who tried to withhold these rights from others. It also depicted various contemporary movements, such as the women's movement, the LGBTQ movement, and many more. In the end, this trip gave me a greater understanding of the civil rights movement, not only in general, but in the specific Atlanta area, which has a lot of civil rights history. I would recommend this museum to those who would not only like to learn more about their history, but would like to experience it with the many activities that the museum provides, as well as how everything connects to contemporary events, leaders, and movements. This is TJ signing out.